Hello, everyone, and welcome to the July 2023 Polkadot community call. We're still waiting for a few teams here to join us, but without further ado, I wanted to kick things off. As always, we have a jam-packed agenda for you guys here today. So without further ado, let me introduce you to our speakers. We have Raul joining us today to give an update on Polkadot and Kusama governance. That's everything from referenda and proposals that are in the queue. We have OriginTrail joining us today to talk about their support and principles for the electronic trade documents bill that was actually signed by the United Kingdom's king by turning electronic trade documents into verifiable and ownable knowledge assets. We have Greg from Unique joining us today to give an update on nested NFTs by, is it Philip? By Philip, yes. And joining us today, we have Peaq Network, who is our most recent auction winner from Auction 45, to talk about what they're building, Web3 car sharing by Elu. We have Nova Spectre from Novasama Technologies joining us today. Nova Spectre will give an update of their open source all-in-one Polkadot desktop wallet. We have Astar joining us today to talk about their 2.0 vision and building opportunities. We have Polkadex joining us today to talk about their recent partnership with Subquery and the upcoming release of Polkadex order book and the start of trading. We have Ajuna Network joining us today to talk about season 2 launch of awesome Ajuna avatars. And last but not least, we have Beatport joining us today. Beatport is a dApp that recently launched on Eventus this week, and they also released a pretty cool their first NFT project called Nox, which is an event they hosted also last night in Berlin with some artists and DJs in the area. So I'll let them tell you more about that. But without further ado, let's hand it over to Raul.
Hi everyone, happy Friday. I hope you can hear me okay. I'm here to give you a rundown of what I think are the most interesting proposals on the governance side and treasury side for both Kusama and Polkadot. As always, the links will be shared on Twitter by the Polkadot account and the Kusama account, so make sure you check them out if you want to read and review the proposals that we're going to talk about today. Let's start with Kusama. On the governance side, I have 5 proposals to talk about, which I found very interesting in the last month. The first one is Referendum 233. This proposal was already executed, and it aimed to increase the max memory pages to 512 MB for parachain validators. As some of you might know, execution had a memory limit of 128 MB, and while collators execute state transitions by reading parachain data from disk locally, parachain validators had to load state proofs into memory. So for this reason, they should have a bigger memory limit than collators in order to avoid a collator to fail to be executed by validators. So that's the reason why this proposal was submitted and executed successfully. Let's pass to referendum 231. This was also executed and opened an HRMP channel between Asset Hub Chain and the Bridge Hub Chain, two of the system parachains on Kusama. Referendum 221 upgraded Kusama to version 9430, enabling disputes rewards and slashing, among other things. It's important to mention that with the upcoming Polkadot 1.0, then runtime releases will be passed to Fellowship, which is an on-chain collective that exists on Polkadot, in order to further decentralize the development, merge, and release of new runtime upgrades. So very much looking forward to this new process for the community to review and to vote. Referendum 219 aimed to increase parachain validators to 300. This was already executed as well, which followed the good network stability with 250 parachain validators. This proposal increased it to 50 more, up to 300 parachain validators. Referendum 224 already executed as well. Further decentralized the collator set on Kusama system chains. The proposed change did the following. It left 2 parity invulnerable collators on each chain, made 8 community collators on asset half invulnerable, and created an additional 6 permissionless slots on asset half, and the same for the bridge half. On the treasury side of things, for Kusama, referendum 243 for the OpenGov community voting Discord bot is in the citing phase right now, so you can review the proposal and go to vote right now as well. Chaos DAO was already made a Discord bot which pulls contextual data from OpenGov, referenda from Subsquare and from Polk Assembly, and it allows the Discord community member to anonymously vote on each referendum. So this proposal will enable them to fund further development of the next stage, which will take the community's Discord board and issue an on-chain extrinsic in order to vote on behalf of the community. It's important to mention that although Chaos DAO is developing this particular tool, this can be used by any community in the Polkadot and Kusama ecosystem as well. You can review the proposal. The proposal number is referendum 243. And then referendum 241, submitted by OnFinality for Q2 2023 for high performance public infrastructure, is also in the citing phase, so you can review the proposal and vote. This is for ongoing cost for the running of high performance scalable public infrastructure for Kusama and StateMine. There is a really interesting discussion regarding the submission of RPC endpoint services by infrastructure providers on both Kusama and Polkadot. I recommend and advise everyone to join this particular discussion and to understand what these public infrastructure providers are providing to the community, what is their relation to the end user on Polkadot JS apps and other applications, and how this will change with the implementation and further development of Flight clients as well. On the Polkadot side, I want to talk about 6 particular governance proposals. Governance on Polkadot, as we saw in the past month, has increased quite a bit given the introduction of open governance. The first I want to talk about is referendum 58. This increased parachain validators to 250 and it's now in the citing phase, so you can still vote on it. Following the success of raising parachain validators to 300 on Kusama, this proposal will increase also parachain validators to the more conservative 250 on Polkadot. As we know on Kusama, we always go first with these kind of changes. We test it, we make sure that everything is stable and secure before we move to Polkadot. Now referendum 58 tries to mimic the past proposal on Kusama to increase parachain validators to 250. Referendum 55 is the next revision of increasing nomination pool limits and commission. This was already executed. Nomination pools, as we know, has been increasing quite a bit, and the nomination pool commission has now rolled out on Polkadot. So this proposal changed the following nomination pool settings. Max pools from 256 to 512, max members of these pools from 16,384 to almost 50,000, global max commission from 0% to 10%, enabling pool commission on Polkadot. So make sure you check your nomination pool if you're a member of one and make sure to get your commission. Referendum 51, open an HR and P channel between system parachains. This was already executed, namely 3 bidirectional channels, asset hub to collectives, asset hub to bridge hub, and collectives to bridge hub as well. Referendum 84 updated the system collator sets and configurations. This is still deciding, so you can also review it on Polkadot JS apps or any other applications and governance forums that allow you to review contextual information. This referendum updates the collator sets and the configurations for all Polkadot system parachains. Make sure that you review the proposal and the contextual information. The 7 invulnerables per chain that were chosen by a group of node operators who have self-organized around providing collation services for these chains. So congratulations to them for the proposal as well. Referendum 56 cancels the remaining auctions and introduces new ones due to an origin issue and scheduler. If you've been following the direction channel, you will know that we have faced some issues with the existing auction system that was proposed and voted earlier this year. So This was due to a bad origin on the scheduler side. In response, Referendum 53 has been proposed to address this problem. It has scheduled new auctions, this in a similar calendar as the previous one that was approved, and it aimed to cancel the old auctions, but again, this part of the proposal has failed. However, we're sure that the old calendar won an answer to the origin issue, so the new schedule on referendum 56 prevails. Referendum 73 submitted by Will from Paranode. So thank you for the support on the governance side of things, rejecting governance 1.0 treasury proposals and facilitating bond reimbursement where applicable. This is still deciding. We know that with an upcoming runtime upgrade, we should see the decommissioning of governance 1.0 on the Polkadot network. And in order to make this an orderly transition, associated with these are several unlocks of deposits, including those from Treasury spend proposals. There are already several teams who have requested immediate return of their deposits, so this proposal seeks to reduce the number of refund requests and prevent double spends. Make sure you check the contextual information and the call data for all of the proposals that will be canceled. On the Treasury side for Polkadot, we have a very interesting proposal, Referendum 85. This is for a 42-week media order from the Cusamaria. This is deciding right now. 60% for the total payment on this particular period of production. The Cusamarian, as some of you might know, is a public service broadcaster that provides platform for builders, reporters, community of the Polkadot network to discuss mainly governance, but also project development, roadmaps, and milestones. Make sure that you check the contextual information of Referendum 85 on Polkadot, leave your feedback, and cast your vote. Referendum 77 for small dot development financing for Q3 2023 is also still deciding. As some of you might know, small dot is an alternative implementation of the Polkadot client that focuses on using as little CPU, memory, and bandwidth as possible. This eventually should become the way to go to connect to Polkadot and Kusama network. It's a very important project because among other things, it can be embedded within a web page and allows end users to connect directly to the Polkadot network. You can check the small dot roadmaps and the overview of all of the milestones and maintenance in this particular contextual information. And Polkadot's roadmap has emphasized the importance of light clients as an essential part of the unstoppability of the network. So make sure that you check this project. Referendum 24 is the second and final part for the Inc. Design Security Review by Open Zeppelin. Open Zeppelin has been developing or performing a security review of the Inc. smart contract language and the Substrate smart contracts palette. This community proposal is for the second and final installment supporting Open Zeppelin's work. During this engagement, Open Zeppelin has identified 11 issues in total within the code base, and these have been fixed. Referendum 62. It's also a very interesting proposal. It's called Metadata for Offline Signers proposal. This project goal is to create a new metadata protocol friendly to offline devices, particularly focus on Ledger, Campella, and Polkadot Vault. Please note that this proposal was publicly supported by Ledger as a solution for the ecosystem, and it requires very tight coordination and collaboration of multiple stakeholders, including parity with the proposer team, something that has been discussed. You can find the discussion, the messages, and the contextual information on the post for Referendum 62. And last but not least, I want to congratulate the people from the Polkadot Assurance Legion Bounty for getting the bounty executed and approved. The Polkadot Assurance Legion is a coalition of parachain teams that includes Hydra DX, Interlay, Astar Network, Manta, Akala, Centrifuge, Zeitgeist, and Equilibrium. And it's a bounty which will be used to help selected Polkadot parachains undergo rigorous audit processes and contribute to the greater security of the ecosystem. The bounty was already approved and we're waiting for it to be funded at the end of the current spend period. The next step will be the election of the curation team for this. The proposer, the coalition, has suggested 7 parties within the Substrate community to be elected, given their expertise in Rust development and security, and the proposal should be up for discussion soon before the community vote. That's all from my side on the governance. Please remember that all of the links will be shared as well for you to check on the contextual informations. Remember to vote, particularly those with big voting power. Remember to delegate if you cannot follow and monitor governance on a daily basis. And remember to leave your feedback on those proposals that are up for discussion and up for vote. This is the only way that proposers can actually make changes, amend their proposals, and make sure that their submissions align with the Polkadot roadmap. Have a good Friday, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Raul. And yes, as he said, all of these links will be shared after the community call. I know that was a lot, but if anything there piqued your interest, hopefully a few things that you want to go vote on, the links will be shared. Up next, we have OriginTrail to talk about their the signing of their electronic trade documents.
Uh, yes, hi, this is Yuri. Can I just get a thumbs up that you guys can hear me? Fantastic. Okay, great. So yeah, I'm Yuri. I'm the general manager at Trace Labs. We're the core developer of OriginTrail, and we have seen a lot of very cool activity and increased activity on both Parachain and OriginTrail decentralized network, reflected in the growth of the knowledge assets that we see. And the reason for that is we're expanding really the use cases, the different applications that knowledge assets are actually delivering value to. And one of the, say, future growth engines that is a very exciting topic that I also personally really like and enjoy is actually related to international trade. And it's a very topical thing. I'll talk about it a little bit today because last week, in the UK, I believe it was last week, in the UK, the King finally signed off on the electronic trade documents bill, which really now allows businesses to fully use electronic trade docs. And what this means for people who are not familiar with international trade, it's up until now, and that's still the case in the majority of countries, international trade is a very tedious and paper-based process. So things like bills of lading, CMRs, airway bills, they are all mandatorily kind of paper-based. And while where you can have, of course, electronic documents accompanying them, the legal requirement is still to do that in a paper form. Now, this bill in the UK essentially allows businesses to really use fully electronic trade documents, and this really kind of opens up and sets a really strong foundation for improving this sustainability of of international trade, increasing value, and opening all sorts of very exciting kind of solutions that can be developed on top that are AI powered and can really bring a significant change to the way we do trade today. And why this is so exciting for us at OriginTrail is because we have actually already worked on a similar solution in the past 2 years, and which I'll talk a little bit about today. And it's really nice seeing this electronic trade documents bill being so aligned with the principles and concepts of OriginTrail knowledge assets, which really revolve around being ownable, and transferable, so that you have that ownership of a trade document in this case, that you can verify where it came from, you can verify what happened to it, and that you can also discover it in a broader trade context. So what this means, what have we already done in that direction with our partners, the British Standards Institution and Secure System and others within the Trusted Bytes project, is essentially exactly what the bill stipulates. We have developed a solution that allows companies, organizations to actually turn their trade documents into knowledge assets that are interoperable, discoverable, and then can actually also be transferred to different parties across the supply chain as the shipments move along. And this is really cool because not only allows the businesses to actually use this in a fully electronic format and have these value propositions, but it's really cool because you can actually attach not only so the trade document, but you can actually attach other relevant trade data to it to get a much broader knowledge graph around what's going on, either with a specific shipment or a group of shipments or trade as a aggregated piece of knowledge graph overall. So in this case that we worked on together with the British Standards Institution, for example, we connected the electronic trade documents with geographic risk parameters from BSI's domain. We connected it to IoT data that was attached to a shipment container, for example, that was provided by secure systems. We connected it to actually a risk calculating algorithm that told at the end of the path when the shipment came to the border in the UK, that allowed the customs agents to actually very quickly and verifiably assess what that shipment is, how risky it is, should we inspect it in more detail, should we fast track it, and really facilitate this trade specifically around in the agriculture or food sector in this Trusted Bytes project. So it's a really cool example. I think it's very nice seeing these types of bills being more and more adopted and really fitting in line or fitting the business logic of what knowledge assets really bring to the table. And I'm really looking forward now, as this thing has become law. It's now called the Electronic Trade Documents Act. How all of these things will develop, and how the framework and the solution that we developed together with our partners can now actually be brought to life in a more, let's say, volume-like and production-like environment. So that was the main excitement for us in the past couple of weeks, and I'll stop here and happy to see, or looking forward to seeing how it all develops.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Up next, we have Greg and my favorite catnip pirate joining us here to talk about, to give us a governance update in nested NFTs by Philip.
Hi all. We have Greg here as well. And Greg, would you like to take the word, take it off first, and I'll be on the tail
Sure,
of it?
yes. I can give a very short technical update that we're cooking here at Unique. We are soon going to enable, soon meaning within about 2 months, enable governance in all our networks. Why this is important? Because this will allow us to expand our to expand the collaboration with other networks. Several networks like Moonbeam First have been waiting for us to do that before we can open the HRMP channel, and we completely understand that, because this is we should watch for the security first. Once we do that, we will be able to open the channels and finally start integrating. First, we will be able to list our token on the Moonbeam exchanges, providing a little more liquidity. Then we will be able to bring USDT to the network. And why this is important? Because many when we speak to many projects, they get very interested if we mention USDT, because this is something, some token that's some stable token that we're going to bring to the network. This is super cool, because in early stages, not every blockchain can offer that. This thanks to the community and to the ecosystem for us being able to do that. So, like I said, we're going to start deploying it with the next to the test networks around probably middle of August or end of August. Then we will be testing a little more, testing the concept. We are trying to adapt the newest available, well, maybe not the newest, but not the version 1, but we're trying to adapt version 2 governance. At the same time, because version 1 governance has certain drawbacks like bottlenecks, and We are still using the democracy palette, but we are going to use fellowship as well, so that we can add more tracks and be more productive when needed. Okay, Philip, I'll let you speak next.
Yeah, thanks. Can you hear me? I can't see. Yeah, I see now that it is reacting. Okay. There's an aspect of the NFT development that we've been pushing really hard in terms of trying to entice people to think of ways to use nesting. And we're happy to announce that there is now a game called Mad Bunnies that has implemented this technology of nesting NFTs in the functionality of their game. And so that will be a very exciting thing to see how it progresses. What was the thing that was interesting to me was the question, since I'm the developer relation manager in Unique Network, was what was the experience? And I'm glad to report that the experience was very fluid, and therefore I can say, well, you can all jump into the bandwagon and use the SDK. It's easy to apply, and the advanced feature seems to be working quite nicely. So I'm happy on that side. But there is another aspect that I'm very happy and that I'd like to and I'd like to mention and to the community. It is related to the effort we've been trying to develop in terms of how do you actually manage complex and very customizable NFTs? And thanks to the phenomenal work of the developers that took part in the previous few hackathons, starting from the beginning of this year, we've had some really, really, really interesting solutions, which we've explicitly asked the authors if we can make it available to the whole community. And not only that, the thing that I'm actually talking about is an interface and a mechanism of managing these complex structures of NFTs that we call bundles or composited NFTs. And we've kind of gone forward and thought about what would an interface look like. We wanted to provide to the community an idea of how would this work like in a universal sense. And in that sense, we would really love to see this implemented everywhere and anywhere, since it is kind of a gift to the community in the sense that it is a solution that is easy to implement. We've been working with many wallets, a nod to Nova Wallet. Here, we've spoken with them about this interesting idea of, would it be possible to make this interface kind of a universal concept in an application of wallets and games. So as far as I'm concerned, it's very exciting. I'm so happy to see that people are experimenting and developing interesting things, and hooray. Well, that's all from me.
Hooray. That's super awesome. Nested NFTs in particular is like one of the things that only the parachains on Polkadot can do. And we are even seeing teams from other networks wanting to come over to Polkadot and be on top of networks like Unique, so that they can do these kinds of things. So it's super cool. It's not something small, and definitely worth highlighting.
I just wanted to add, if I'm sorry.
No, it's totally fine.
I mean, I know this is not a dialogue, but you hit spot on here the idea that we kind of have had in this, making it a community thing. That's the idea. It's not like a solution. These ideas that we're coming through, every single parachain that is coming to, these ideas have, some of them are very paradigmatic in the way you're observing the matter that is being processed. I'm not talking only about NFTs, I'm talking about DeFi and so on. So our point of view is, if we can push forward these new aspects and new ways of looking at it and make it a universally interesting in terms of user experience, that really, really brings benefit to the whole Polkadot ecosystem. And the idea that this can kind of spread like wildfire and become implemented across the whole ecosystem is something that brings great allure in the sense that, like, oh man, look at what this whole community kind of has. They've kind of adopted this approach of discovering new ways and implementing it in every kind of aspect of what they're doing, that is the one that excites me very much. And it actually accentuates very much the community aspect of it all, and the things that actually nobody very much believes us about. That is, are the parachains actually sharing between themselves? Are they kind of working together? Are they implementing each other's ideas? And I'd like to believe that that is so, and that actually is shown to be so with all the positive thinking and all the positive reactions we got from the ideas we were talking about with the other parachains. Thank you for letting me have this little extended speak.
No, of course, of course. Those are all great points, and I'm happy that you came and said them. Up next, we have peaq joining us, our most recent auction winner, to talk about what they're building on Polkadot.
Hello, everyone. Great to be here. Yeah, indeed. Like maybe a few words on the last auction. It was a bumpy ride, because maybe some of you have seen that the initial schedule didn't start because through the OpenGov update, there were some changes, and then the auction didn't start as scheduled. And the risk was basically that the crowd loan could run out before the crowd loan could have placed a bid. But then the parity team and everyone else, thanks everyone for supporting the referendum that actually made possible that the auction started in time so that our crowd loan was able to place a bid. And it was 15.7% of all dots voted on that referendum. So it's 163 million in a couple of days. So we were really blown away by the power of the community, and that this happened. And yeah, super excited that after all, the auction had a happy end, and that we're finally officially on board also on the Polkadot relay chain. And yeah, maybe to talk a bit about what peaq is bringing to Polkadot. So we've been working for many years in the field of IoT plus blockchain, really thinking about, okay, what does a layer one need to provide for IoT applications to best possibly be built in Web3, be it functionalities like identity, data storage, access control, and so on. And we've essentially built a layer one and for IoT focus. And the cool thing is, about 6 months ago, a new trend came up in Web3, which is called DePIN, Decentralized Physical Infrastructure Networks. And it's basically combining all the efforts that use token incentives to create physical infrastructure. I mean, Filecoin is an example for storage, for example, also Nodal already being part of the ecosystem, right? So it's really about how can people deploy hardware and then provide goods and services. And we are basically building and have built a layer one designed for those applications. And it's very exciting. There are a lot of existing projects already building on peaq, and they will also go live with the peaq parachain going live. Goes from projects like Natix, who build the Internet of Cameras. They have already tens of thousands of users. Or eLoop recently, which we announced, they built decentralized car sharing with Teslas being tokenized. So it's very exciting that the vision that we had a while ago is materializing, and yeah, very exciting to bring a lot of real world adoption to the Polkadot ecosystem. Thanks a lot for having us today.
Thank you, and thank you for joining us today. Yeah, really, I want to touch on that point because as someone that's been here for a bit, one, OpenGov is new. So OpenGov removed like first-class citizens in the past when we wanted to, when we needed proposals to pass fast. We had like the technical committee and these kind of, I want to say collectives, but let's say groups of people to speed things up. And right after OpenGov, right off the bat, we had this issue with auctions and no longer had the ability to fast track. So what we needed to do was, like you said, get 15% of the total dot in circulation to vote in favor of this auction. And I was even surprised. We knew we had like a week to do it, or from Tuesday when the vote went live to get it passed by Friday. But I was just, one, shocked with how many people voted in favor of this and so fast, and two, yeah, just how fast it was. I thought it would come down to the wire where like Friday morning cold calls, calling your grandma, everyone you know. But really within 2 days, like you said, we had surpassed that. And it was just a really cool thing to see in governance, and something that I got to see for the first time, and the power of the community. And also, with these governance systems, what Polkadot has is beyond what any other network has. And we're already pushing the boundaries to decentralize it more and more, and by like removing these first class citizens. But then you run into these issues, and you need the community. Without the community, like this auction wouldn't have happened. And so one might say it's more stressful, but on the other side, it really shows the power of the Polkadot community, and just really great that got passed and everyone tuned in to vote. So super cool, and that's on all of you guys. And yeah, because I was one of those skeptics that I was like, oh no, is this? I'll do everything in my power, but will this pass? Will enough people to show up to vote and vote in favor? And so this is really cool. I can't say, I'm just going to say really cool like 5 more times. So why don't we just hand it over to Nova Spectre to talk about their open source all-in-one Polkadot desktop wallet.
GM, everybody. Hope you can hear me. And thank you very much for having me on the Polkadot community call. So my name is Lima from Novasama Technologies, and I'm here to let you guys know a little bit about Nova Spectre, which was just said. It's our recently released all-in-one desktop wallet, which is, of course, fully open source and available for download right now. So as I said, Nova Spectre is a desktop application, and it is designed to meet the requirements of enterprises, power users, and individuals. So I'll go over some of the features that are available right now in Nova Spectre. So Spectre supports over 70 Polkadot ecosystem networks and hundreds of tokens across all those networks. If you've ever used our other product, Nova Wallet, it's very similar to that in terms of how many networks and tokens that it supports. Spectre is truly multi-chain, multi-sig. For those that are unaware about multi-sigs, they actually allow organizations or teams to manage their assets in a simple, secure, and collaborative manner, requiring a predefined level of consensus to be reached for each transaction's authorization. When you create a multi-sig using Nova Spectre, you have access to over 55 Polkadot ecosystem networks. It's any network which has the standard multi-sig palette in its runtime. That includes Polkadot, Kusama, Astar, HydraDX, Interlay, Fowler, and tons more, along with, like I said, hundreds of different assets across those chains. We've made multi-sigs in Polkadot incredibly simple, and have even implemented the Spectre Matrix protocol, which automatically shares information about your multi-sig transactions with your other signatories, such as the multi-sig call data through the Matrix protocol. And soon we will actually have the ability to chat with your fellow signatories via Matrix directly from Nova Spectre. Spectre's light client support allows you to unleash an unstoppable, fast, and trustless working environment by utilizing a locally hosted blockchain node to manage your digital assets in the Polkadot ecosystem. On top of that, we've also created the parachain data verification protocol, which utilizes your light client connection with either relay chain, Polkadot, or Kusama, to verify that data being sent to you from a parachain's public RPC endpoint is correct, things like transaction fees and stuff like that. The reason for this is because currently it's quite difficult to run dozens of light client connections on all different parachains without it affecting your PC's performance at this time. I know there's a lot of optimizations going on for small, although it's actually really awesome. Currently, we support the Polkadot Vault cold storage air-gapped hardware wallet. That's how you import an account into Nova Spectre. But in the future, we're going to add a ton more options to import accounts via different methods as well. Multi-shard operations. So Nova Spectre has the first ever implementation of multi-shard features. This allows you to seamlessly operate a set of accounts, which we refer to as shards, as a single unified entity. Now, whilst each of those shards or accounts remains independent, they're actually intelligently associated with each other within Nova Spectre, and it enables streamlined operations and enhanced account management capabilities, mainly for power users. This is kind of to do with derived accounts. So if you want to learn more, you can check the Polkadot wiki for derived accounts. Spectre currently is very useful for enterprises and power users with a lot of security features like multi-sig support and Polkadot vault support and parachain data verification. But in the next milestone that we'll go for, we're going to propose to add a ton of amazing features for individual users as well. Things like Wallet Connect support, dot swap integration, cross-chain transfers, exactly like we have in Nova Wallet, and loads more amazing features. Our goal here is to make the best possible application for the Polkadot ecosystem for everybody. So to finish up, Nova Spectre, once again, is available for download right now. It's fully open source and doesn't collect any user data at all. If you want to check it out, click the Nova Spectre Twitter profile that I'm speaking on right now and head over to our website. And please try it out. Let us know what you think. If there's any feedback, we'll be more than happy to hear it. And once again, thank you so much for having me on the Polkadot community call. And I hope you all have a great weekend.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Up next, we have Astar joining us to talk about their 2.0 vision and building opportunities.
Hey, thanks for inviting me. My name's Jared. I'm here to introduce the Astar 2.0 vision. It's quite extensive, so I'll try not to be too long. To go along with the general idea, it's kind of built on the premise of building the unstoppable. It's an idea that we're all familiar with in this ecosystem, but taking that and creating, I guess, a strategy for it. So attacking on several fronts to build this unstoppable network. It's really based on 3 organizations. So not just seeing Astar, but having 3 organizations that will help build out the network. Those 3 organizations are Startail Labs, Astar Foundation, and then really creating the unstoppable governance with the community. And if you see the website, there's also 3 pillars of technology, rethinking staking and tokenomics, and then creating a new space for developers, which is a Starlink. And then at the end, I'll talk about the grants. I guess the first part is to really introduce those 3 organizations that are in the ecosystem and why we need 3. The newest member would be Startail Labs. So the founder, Sota, and also the CEO of Startail Labs. And what Startail Labs is, it's a for-profit organization that's a part of the ecosystem. And that's really important because the whole idea of Startail Labs is to accelerate business relations and accelerate development as well. So the different research and development that Startail Labs does with these businesses. So node management, indexers. And if you do follow the ecosystem, you'll see Startail Labs has worked with like Sony Communications Network, Toyota, NTT Docomo. So you need that for-profit organization to make these connections. You can really kind of see Startail as like the parity or consensus. So parities for Polkadot really supports Polkadot ecosystem. Consensus supports Ethereum. Startail will support Astar in ways that the Astar Foundation can't. The Astar Foundation, that's the second organization in the ecosystem, and this is nonprofit, and this has to be remain a neutral group. And the whole idea with the Astar Foundation is right now, this organization, we're the main maintainer of the network and a contributor to source code. So if we have changes in XCM, right, we need to make sure that runs smoothly. That's the role of the Astar Foundation. If we have new integrations with wallets, for example, Nova Wallet, and we want to make that smooth, the Astar Foundation will take care of that. So you need both of those. And I guess just to touch on the Astar Foundation, like the 3 main goals to create the Astar 2.0 vision, which is a more unstoppable network, is the Astar Foundation is focused on like 3 main pillars of technology. So I said it's tokenomics, staking, and a Starlink. So the first bit is tokenomics. We've been working with a third party for the last few months. There's been 9 reports, I think 11 meetings, and there's over 100 tasks of just how we can make the Astar token better for the network. And it's really kind of stemmed from comparing how the Astar token functions in Astar compared to other networks. So take the best ideas from other layer 1s, and bring that to Astar, and then create something unique, because Astar is very unique in the Polkadot ecosystem. Other layer 1s don't have the relay chain that they're connected to. So we get a lot of unique features. So let's take the best ideas and make the token valuable. select some highlights of where we're going with tokenomics is lowering the inflation rewards. I think right now it's around 9.5%. So thinking about lowering that, making sure builders still receive dApp staking rewards because we want to focus on builders, aligning some of the network fees between the two environments, EVM and native, and something that everyone always likes is a burning mechanism. So rethinking how we can fit burning into the Astar network. And staking is kind of the other side of that. And I guess the problem there is staking, it's great. It's the most popular product on Astar, but we want to improve the value for stakers and developers. So right now, the way staking is, it's great. You go on there, you can kind of stake and forget, but it's not really dynamic. So we want to make more of a community engaged staking, right? To where developers still get rewards, but you're also encouraged to participate in staking. So the idea of this is being discussed in the forums. That's probably the best spot to see where we're headed with that. It's going to be called dApp Staking V3. So nothing's set in stone yet, but there is an idea there. And I think if you're interested in creating staking on the Astar, particularly if you're a developer, just get involved. But the whole value is to create an exciting place to stake, not just stake and forget. And then the other part of that to improve staking is to bring in EVM staking and account unification. So personally, I don't mind JS. I like it, but we have a lot of different wallets that people use. There's MetaMask, Nova Wallet, Subwallet, Talisman, and they all have EVM support. So it should just be easy. If you have an account, you can go to the portal and take part in staking. So that's kind of the idea behind staking. And then the last pillar, so we have staking tokenomics, and the last pillar is Astar Link. And it's still in the infant stage, but the whole idea is on Astar, we have like a lot of integrations, a lot of tooling, again, like XCM. So we've got to flip the idea and make a space that it's easy to access all these great tools that we have. So the main goal of this is end-to-end support for developers and making it easy to access. So if you like the idea of XCM, or the new Nova Wallet integrations or unique SDKs, you can just go to the space, find what you need to build on Astar network. And this is something that it's also meant to support builders, but also the different businesses that come to the Polkadot ecosystem and on Astar. So, and I think the last bit, I don't want to hop into it too much, is just Astar governance. But to create the unstoppable network like we have on Polkadot, we do need to hand over ownership to the community, and we want to do this carefully so that there's still value to being involved. So we have to value builders, community, as well as people that hold the Astar token. So I did want to highlight it. It is a part of the vision to hand it over. The first white paper and a summary of that will be released for the community to kind of build with us. So I think if you want more information on that, we do have a great community call that's on our YouTube. You can check that out. Hoon does a great job of explaining interorganizational platform. It's a new concept. And if you're actually interested in governance, definitely hop into the Astar forums and build that with us. But we do want to take, I guess, the main highlight, which is it does need to be handed over to the community. So we have this unstoppable network. So yeah, that's kind of the summary of the Astar Vision 2.0. We need 3 organizations to kind of combat, to build this ecosystem out in 3 different ways. And then we have those 3 pillars of technology: staking, tokenomics, and Astar Link. I guess just before I go, the last thing I did want to mention is if you are a builder and developer, we are starting the new thing, just to kind of fall in line with the whole theme, is Unstoppable Grants. So it's a new grants program that will use the dApp staking mechanism that most people are involved with to generate funding for builders. So just like any other grants program, you'll create a proposal, you hit milestones, and you receive those funds. But because it's through dApp staking mechanism, it goes directly to you as a builder. There's no reapplying for anything. So that's really interesting. So I guess I would just leave with the call. If you're interested in building something on Astar Network and you want to check out the grants program, you can get in touch directly with me or any member of the team. And definitely interested excited to see what Astar Link will look like. And probably I'm most excited for Astar governance, if I'm going to be honest there. And that's it. Thank you. Thanks for the time.
Thank you, Jared. Thank you for joining us today. Up next, we have Gautam from Polkadex to talk about their partnership with Subquery and the upcoming release of Polkadex Order Book.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. I hope everyone is having a really good Friday weekend. And yeah, so I mean, before I deep dive into the details of the partnership and all on the upcoming announcements and releases, I just want to give a bit of context here because Polkadex is we are trying to build a decentralized order book. I mean, in case if someone is new to Polkadex, I just want them to understand what we are trying to do. And I mean, we've been in the R&D phase for the last 2 years, and we had a beta launch last year. And the biggest news that we have in terms of that is right now, compared to all the other order book alternatives, I think there are only a few alternatives out there. If you're talking about other ecosystems like Ethereum or Polygon or even in Polkadot, and what we have achieved right now is a purely decentralized order book. In which all the balances and the trade settlement and everything is handled by the validators and the publicly in a permissionless open network. So what that means is this is the first time a team or a parachain or a group of people have achieved this, where we can now in a high frequency manner trade limit orders and market orders and settle it in an open public permissionless network, and that too without even sacrificing the the core functionality of the blockchain or modifying it too much. So that's a big achievement for us, because especially the first release of Polkadex was enclave or a trusted execution model, where we have an enclave which provides the root of trust or the security. But in this model, we are able to achieve a little bit more closer towards the decentralized vision, where the public, the validators, compute and verify all the trade details, and they hold the data. So it's more censorship resistant. At the same time, it has all the properties of a DEX that we want in a Web3 space. So the good news is, we have this product live on mainnet. Earlier this week, it went live on the mainnet, and we have been testing it internally. And we also transferred the first dot from Relay Chain to Polkadex, and also the USDT from the Asset Hub to Polkadex, and we started testing. And also we opened a bunch of channels with our fellow parachain teams. I think 4, and also a lot many are in the pipeline. And the next step for us will be to open the order book to the public, and that will be a 2-step procedure, because we want to get as much feedback as possible. Especially this is the first time we are opening up to parachain after a lot of years of development. There will be a lot of feedback and learnings that we can do when the real users start onboarding to the product. And that's going to happen probably late next week, where we open to the public and we as a silent soft launch, and we onboard. And as soon as we have most probably like 10 to 15 trading pairs with all the tokens from the parachain ecosystem, the Polkadot ecosystem, we will be going for the full production public launch. So that's one of the exciting news that we have. Because finally we are able to materialize the vision that we set for Polkadex of providing a proper decentralized alternative for our order book based trading, because we only have that experience in centralized exchanges at this point. And even if you compare other alternatives in other ecosystem, you will see that there is some point of centralization, and that if the centralized operators is not available, then you're not able to access the funds, and other difficulties are there. So it's not truly censorship resistant. So and with Polkadex, with this release, that is not. I mean, we have solved that problem, and it's much more decentralized and much more democratic in that manner. And with regard to Subquery, so we use Subquery as our partner for indexing the on-chain data, especially when users are transferring assets from other relay chains or or from other parachains. We use subquery for indexing all that information and show it in our interface, especially when in the order book interface. And that's a big deal for us because especially building order book it's a very hard task for us, and having a partner like subquery in the ecosystem to delegate this and also to work with them to build this indexer and use their APIs to provide data, useful information for the end users when they are trading. And this is, I think, one of the first steps for us to building a fully polished, end-to-end system where any user from any ecosystem can come and use Polkadex in like one click. That's the end goal that we have. We are not there yet right now, but surely by the end of the year, we'll be there where in one click from any parachain, from any ecosystem, users can transfer funds and then start trading and then again exit to any other ecosystem. So that's the next standard or the next bar that we have set for ourselves. And especially with this release, all the technical foundation that's required for Polkadex to grow and scale from is finalized. And this we can treat as like a 1.0 release of Polkadex, especially because all the consensus layer changes, all the confirmations required on how the trades are settled and how the validators are managing and verifying the trades are all confirmed and finalized, and it is already live. So and it's also audited by reputable firms. So we are pretty confident that from this point onwards, it's more about opening channels with more and more channels with other parachain team. Especially, I'm happy to open channel with Peaq Network here, who just joined the parachain set. And especially with also others, and bring their tokens and provide an exposure to other trading in our interface. So that's the big news that I wanted to share. Do follow our Polkadex social media channels for more updates. And so before I conclude, I just want to say like this is like the foundational release of Polkadex. And I do invite everyone in the community to go and check it out when it goes live and provide us with valuable feedback, constructive criticism, so that we can understand and we can better the product. Because at the end of the day, what I feel is anyone can make a product, but to make it a perfect, polished product, we need the feedback, the real feedback from the real users who are gonna use that product. And in this case, these are the traders, the users of this ecosystem. So I really urge everyone to go and use our interface and let us know what are the good things about it, what are the bad things about it, so that in the long term we can provide a fully polished end-to-end product that actually provides a use case for the community. And this goes without saying, this is only possible because of Substrate and Polkadot, and I'm really grateful to be part of this ecosystem, and I'm really excited about this. Yeah, I think that's it from my side. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Gautam. And thank you to everyone that is still with us. I know we're at the hour, but we have 2 teams left, so I really hope that you guys can all stay on. So without further ado, let me hand it over to Nick from Ajuna Network.
Hi, thank you for having us on the call today. I see that sort of we're already past our time, so I'll be brief. From our side, I wanted to share that today we're launching essentially the early access to the season 2 of our awesome Ajuna avatars. We're going to be gathering in our Discord channel in the next hour or so, and the game is going to be launching around 7 p.m. CET. In this early access, it's only for people who have already sort of registered, and it's a week that we're going to be spending with the community playing the game, and then next week we're going to be opening it up to the public. We're really happy and really sort of excited to have all of you to try the second season. What we're looking to change or improve upon from the first season was sort of in 2 main things. The first season was sort of quite simple in the way that we introduced a single game loop in order to give you the opportunity to create essentially your own avatar, your own in-game asset. In season 2, we have added a few different loops, gaming loops to the game. So we're adding essentially a crafting element to the game. Our goal here is to be able to extend, let's say, the life cycle of the game for a few months instead of a single week, which it lasted last time. We're quite excited about it. Each season, as we have said, represents a different product or a different, let's say, a game that's going to be launching later on, either on by June or on Ajuna Network. Season 2 is going to be introducing the on-chain missions, which your legendary avatars from different seasons will be able to participate in. So yeah, that's the short announcement from our side, from Ajuna Network. We're going to be giving everybody an update on the season and also what we're working on in the background at Sub-Zero in September, and looking forward to getting all of you to have fun in our second season.
Wonderful. Thank you, Nick. And last but certainly not least, we have Beatport joining us today to give an update. They just recently launched. Welcome to Polkadot, first and foremost. And right off the bat from launching, they launched their first collection too. So without further ado, here is Beatport.
Hey everyone, this is Finn from Beatport.io. We're very excited to be here and share this news about the launch with you. So we went live yesterday. Very excited to share this with the Polkadot community. Beatport.io is built on the Avantis parachain, and we're a platform where music culture comes alive. Right. So our mission is to connect artists, labels, and creators, and music lovers with technology to form a vibrant creative ecosystem. And using our platform, artists can express themselves and share new art in collectible new format. So very excited about starting this journey, and handing over to David from Beatport for a quick intro.
Thanks, Finn. Great to be part of the ecosystem and to hear about all the projects and development that's ongoing today. As Finn mentioned, I guess that if for anyone that isn't familiar with Beatport, we're in our 19th year as a company. Next year will be the 20th anniversary. If you're not aware, we're one of the largest electronic music platforms for DJs. We serve mostly downloads and streaming applications on web, mobile, and then integrations in the DJ booth as well. But outside of that, over the past 3 years, the company got more and more interested in Web3 and with the rise of NFTs and the explosion that we saw, I think that started to pique our interest quite significantly. And then we sort of wandered around, how might we actually leverage this technology as a Web2 platform and actually serve that same community, but through developing future products. So what kind of products would make sense or could make sense or that exist today in Web 2, but could be made better, faster, stronger, more secure through NFTs and Web 3. So that was really, and when you think about that at a deeper level, like there is a rich source of inspiration across the music and cultural music landscape. When you think about ticketing, attendance, the music itself, art, design, fashion, all of those things play into our music ecosystem. And so it's that inspiration can fuel the products of the future, or so we believe. So that's where we started. We started exploring that in about 3 years ago. And then we started to launch, we launched the PFP project in early last year. And then over the past 18 months or so, we've been developing and working on Beatport.io, which is where we're at today. And we're super excited to have launched it yesterday and to be here to tell you about it. So I'll hand back to Finn, who can talk a little bit more about the platform and how it came to be.
Yeah, cool. I'll keep this brief, especially looking at the time. But what we do want to highlight is actually the first drop on the Beatport.io platform, right? And so for you guys, for those of you who have been at Polkadot Decoded, we already, we gave you the whole community a sneak peek at the Decoded after party with the Nachts project. And the whole idea of Beatport.io is to kind of let fans deep dive into the culture and the DNA of their favorite artists and labels, right? So with Nachts, the Nachts project, it's really about immersive content that brings together the cutting-edge technology, art, and music culture. So with the Nachts project, it's a multimedia art series by the renowned photographer and bouncer Misha Vanhengel. He's been, working as a bouncer at legendary club Berghain for more than 12 years, and he really documented the whole. We're excited to kind of finally, reveal it now fully. So he documented like 175 people of the Berlin techno scene, right? And that's obviously a scene that's notoriously, I would say hush hush. There's no photos on the dance floor, and then the clubs are right. So it's really a very special collection that we can start with. So the we're launching actually with a free door edition. So for we want to invite the whole community to kind of go to the Beatport.io platform and claim their own free door edition NFT with club legend Gerd Janssen. It gives you a really nice insight into this kind of immersive video piece. So it's bringing these kind of photos from Misha Vanhengel alive. We've done machine learning data sets turned into sound reactive visuals. So it's quite immersive, and would love to invite you guys to check it out. And then lastly, we had a really nice little preview launch event last night in Berlin, and Misha Vanhengel, the artist, was obviously present, showcasing his the first Nachts project on Beatport.io, but also techno legend Ben Clock was there, and I know that there's a lot of electronic music lovers here in the Polkadot community, and it was really cool. We just did a lovely interview with Misha and Ben Clock, and he's very famous for playing these very long sets at Berghain. And it was interesting to hear from such a legendary techno DJ about his involvement and excitement in crypto, that how he got into crypto, that he also already kind of dropped an NFT a while ago already. So it kind of shows that Web3 and electronic music are like a perfect match, right? Because it's all about decentralization, innovation. It's community driven. So it was very cool to see that. And so wrapping up from my side, again, want to invite you guys to head over to Beatport.io and claim the free door edition and check it out. And handing back over to David to wrap up.
Yep, thanks, Finn. Just to say thanks for tuning in today. As Finn mentioned, we'd love you to collect your free edition. If you have any questions, feel free to DM us on our Twitter. So we've got the Beatport main account and then our Beatport.io account. We're pretty active there, so get in touch.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Beatport. Yes, and we'll also recap this on our recap. You can also see, if you just scroll up to the top, you can click on the Beatport.io tweet to see more about this as well if you're interested right off the bat and don't want to wait for the recap. But yes, make sure to go claim your free NFT. So yes, thank you for everyone who stayed on past the hour to hear from all of our amazing projects today. I'd also like to thank our speakers for taking, almost an hour and a half out of their busy schedules today on either the start of their Friday or the end of their Friday. We really appreciate it to come on and update the community about all the cool things that they're doing in the space, and the community appreciates it as well. So again, that's thank you to Raul and Yuri from OriginTrail, and Greg and Catnip from Unique, and Leonard from Peaq, and Limo from Nova, and Jared from Astar, Gautam from Polkadex, Nick from Ajuna, and then Finn and David from Beatport. And if anyone is joining late, or if you had to drop off, and you're probably not hearing this right now, but the recording to this call will be made available directly after this call. So make sure to catch up on what you missed. Thank you, and we'll see you guys all on the August edition of the community call next month.